I had always hated group projects, but this one was worse than usual. We were given an extra week to finish because half of my group decided not to show up for most of it. So, here I was, stuck after hours at school trying to wrap up our science presentation all by myself. Our teacher had given me special permission to stay late, saying I could leave my finished work on his desk by the morning. It was already getting dark outside, and I could hear the wind picking up. A storm was supposed to roll in overnight, which didn't help the uneasy feeling I had. The school was eerily quiet. Most of the other students had left hours ago, and the custodial staff was just wrapping up. I figured I'd be in and out in about an hour. I made my way to the library, hoping to get the last few resources I needed. As I entered, I noticed the lights flickering slightly. I shrugged it off, chalking it up to the old wiring or maybe the incoming storm. I was the only one there, which didn't surprise me. The librarian had left long ago, so I let myself into the small, dimly lit aisles. As I gathered the books, I thought I heard footsteps outside. I paused, listening, but everything was silent again. Shaking my head, I told myself it was just the building settling. Schools are full of creaks and groans, especially at night when no one's around. But the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. By the time I finished my work, it was almost 9 p.m. I grabbed my stuff and started heading towards the main exit. The halls felt unnaturally long in the dark, and the emergency lights barely did anything to light my way. My footsteps echoed strangely, as if the sound wasn't just bouncing off the walls but following me. That's when I heard it again. Footsteps. But this time they weren't mine. They were slow, deliberate, and unmistakably close. I stopped, my heart racing. I turned around, scanning the empty hallway behind me. Nothing. No one. I told myself I was just imagining things. Maybe I was spooking myself out because I'd been in this deserted building for too long. With a nervous laugh, I turned back towards the exit, picking up my pace. But the footsteps picked up too, matching my speed, growing louder. My legs moved faster, almost breaking into a jog as I reached the main stairwell. I had 2 floors to go down before I could make it to the exit. I didn't want to run, didn't want to give in to the panic that was creeping up my spine, but the sound was unmistakable now. Someone, or something, was following me. As I hit the bottom of the stairs, I bolted. I didn't care anymore about looking calm. I sprinted toward the main doors, my backpack slamming against my back as I ran. I could still hear the footsteps behind me, but now they were more erratic, faster, and almost desperate. I reached the door, yanking on the handle. Locked. My heart sank. The front doors were locked for the night, and I didn't have a key. Panic surged through me. I turned, backing against the door, trying to catch my breath. That's when I saw it, a shadow, standing at the end of the hallway. It wasn't moving, just standing there, watching me. I couldn't make out any details, but it was tall, far taller than any teacher I knew. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice shaking. No response, just the silent figure, still and unmoving. I slowly reached for my phone, my hands trembling as I fumbled to unlock it and call for help. But as I lifted my phone, the figure moved, fast. It darted toward me, closing the distance faster than I could even process. In blind terror, I turned and slammed on the door, hoping someone, anyone, would hear me outside. Just as the figure reached me, a blinding flash of light flooded the hallway. I blinked, disoriented, and suddenly, everything was still. The footsteps were gone. The shadow was gone. I stood there gasping for air, unsure of what just happened. I turned around, and there was the janitor, unlocking the front door with his set of keys. He looked at me, confused. "You okay, kid? What are you still doing here?" I couldn't find the words to answer him. I just nodded and stumbled out of the school, my heart still racing. As I walked home, I kept looking over my shoulder, half expecting to see the shadow following me. But nothing ever came. Still, I haven't stayed late at school since,